Hello and welcome back to Europe 1100. We're here at Strasbourg here, and this is a bit of a difficulty because I don't have my army with me any further, and there's a reason for that. I literally just wanted to let the AI do their thing. I wanted to get them as many people behind their offensive pushes as I could get, and so basically what I did was I looked at how weak each individual fief they were taking was going to end up. And that's exactly the reason why I'm here, because if I zoom out real fast, you'll see that this is basically out in the middle of nowhere. There are no castles nearby because for some reason the AI, in other words Mengus, decided that he would take this just... I mean, it's out in basically nowhere land, and yeah, now I'm basically forced to defend it. Although, to be fair, I don't necessarily have to defend it. It is just a, well, a nice thing to do, I suppose. A nice thing to do. So this is going to be a bit of a, maybe a bit of a problematic situation at all as well, because we are, oh, actually, maybe not. Well, as you can see, the garrison is literally at 20. Yeah, there's a very, very small garrison here. And I'm hopeful that we'll actually be able to achieve victory. Oh yeah, by the way, I did make some additional clans. I made, I think, 2 additional parties and 1 additional clan that we had out of a new companion that I just recruited. And hopefully they're going to do a relatively decent job. Apart from that, I gave her Zagreb, which is obviously one of my fiefs. And usually I wouldn't want to do that. But I have so much money as it is, it kind of makes me feel like, hey, you know what am I doing? What's the point, you know? Because I have so much money, I could easily make more money by smithing stuff if I wanted to do that. But there's just not enough money in the towns. That's the point. They just don't have enough cash for us to really make a big dent. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go from town to town to town or wait a day for their, you know, funds to replenish. So those are the kinds of things that are, you know, not that big a deal to me. So I kind of just think, yeah, you know what? We're just going to go and do the old-fashioned thing, which is just to give as many fiefs as possible to our friends, and hopefully that's going to make a big difference to them overall. I know that 100% Zagreb has, like, I don't know, an absolutely insane prosperity level. I believe it has 8,000, 9,000 now, or something like that. It's pretty crazy. So that is exactly the reason why I wanted to give it away, because it is just going to be so incredibly useful for whoever has control of it. Now this should be a pretty easy victory for us as well. I'm actually going to ask these cavalry to follow me right now, because I'm going to go on a bit of an excursion. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, hello there. Okay, this is good. This is good. Everyone, they get, yeah, see now, they're getting stopped by the trees as well. That's great. That is wonderful. That is what we like to see. Oh my. Okay, yeah, well, we don't really want to go too hard here against them, but I kind of want to at the same time, so we're just going to do a little bit of damage here. Oh, killed one of their lords. That's wonderful. And now let's tell my cavalry to charge in here, just to hopefully be a bit more aggressive against the enemy's cavalry. And hopefully I'm not going to take too much damage in the process here. Just going to be very careful. And I don't really want my guys charging in to these guys just yet. Okay, let's just tell them to follow me. Tell these guys to follow me as well, because they're apparently running towards me right now from a weird charge order that I did by mistake. So that's great. Very good. And aha, here we go. Okay, they're actually going in now. They're actually going in. So we can actually tell them to charge in. Okay, we've got to be a bit careful here, though. Let's do this. Let's do this. There we go. And let's be a bit careful about these guys. They're going to absolutely murder my horse if I let them. So we do want to be a bit careful of those. Thank you. And otherwise, we should try to do some... Oh, yes. Some nice damage against their archers here. There we go, and we got our cavalry coming in right away as well. This is absolutely fantastic. Perfect tactics here. And, well, it's not really, because, you know, it's kind of like, well, these guys did have a pretty big disparity anyway, but it's nice to know that we can actually pull off some pretty decent strategies when we put our minds to it. And that's obviously been something that I'm not... Usually, I don't do that kind of stuff because most of the time, it's going to be... it's going to be one of the other two things. So it's going to be either I absolutely stomp the opponent in some way or another, or the opponent stomps me. Some of the time there is definitely a even battle, and in which cases, yeah, then I'm definitely gonna try my best to, you know, implement some tactics. But as we've seen in the previous episode, most notably, I actually did do some strategy, and I thought pretty decent strategy in the first battle against that large army that we had. But we ended up losing. We ended up losing that, and so I had to retreat. And now, the second time that we went in against that army, that same opponent, I changed my strategy ever so slightly, and we were able to much better achieve victory. We actually gained so much advantage from just that small change in our tactics and where we placed our units and everything. It's kind of staggering how much of a difference that actually made. But there you go. It just goes to show that tactics do make a pretty big difference, and you wouldn't think so, you know. You really wouldn't think so, but it does. Anyway, there's 57 renown for us. Obviously, we don't have any people helping us right now, so we're basically just doing this by ourselves, which is, you know, I don't think perfect. You know, I don't think particularly bad. So, yeah. Anyway, we could just take these ones prisoner. There's actually a huge amount of them. And, yeah, as you can see, we actually have a slightly depreciated prisoner capacity here as well, because I have literally just been converting as many as I could, because I actually had a situation off screen where I got caught out by a very large army of about 900, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to retreat. We're just going to retreat and leave some units behind. And thankfully I still had a couple of vassals with me, so I could kind of have a bit of a buffer, but I still ended up losing quite a lot of people myself. And that has really made a huge difference to, well, as you can quite clearly tell, how much, you know, how many troops I actually have and how many prisoners I have as well. So that has kind of set us back a little bit, but it just goes to show that generally I'm not invincible. And we are going to have situations where we can potentially get defeated if we are not careful. And so that's what we're going to have to do a little bit more of, in my opinion. But otherwise, apart from that, we should probably take a look and see whether we have multiple armies. Yes, we do. Nice. Look at that. We have multiple armies now. That's absolutely fantastic. So we got this fellow. He only has 347, and Mengus is running around with 1,400. I made peace with the Byzantines as well, by the way, because they were, well, as you know, being a little bit irritating by encroaching on us, and as far as I'm aware, they're pretty happy with what they've retaken. I don't think... They're probably going to declare war against us at some point in the future. But as you can see, we're paying them 1,000 tribute, which is actually not bad. That's really pretty good. I would have expected it to be a lot more, but I'm very happy with this. Anyway, as you can see, my total combat strength is currently 13,000, and if we take a look at the Holy Roman Empire here, you can see that they are down to 6,500, which is absolutely incredible. Never would have expected that in a million years, would we? Because that has, you know, that faction has literally been dominant for the majority of the game, actually. The entire campaign, they have just been on top every single step of the way. And I gotta say, I'm very pleased to see that that has now changed. So hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit more here. And that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure what we should do going forward here, because here's the thing. On the one hand, I really want to, you know, capture a huge amount of the continent, because I think that's actually really fun to do. You know, I think fighting against different units and everything is super fun. We have a massive different array of different cultures and everything that we have here. Massive different variety of cultures that we have in our army at the moment. Don't know whether you've noticed that, but we do have a significant amount of those because I've literally just been, as I say, converting prisoners over and over again. And most of the time, we're fighting quite a few defectors as well. And those defectors are, of course, going to have all kinds of different units in our army. So we are seeing a pretty good variety there. But apart from that, I kind of want to see our colors owning the entirety of the mainland of Europe. I'm not sure if we're even going to be able to do that, but now that the Holy Roman Empire is kind of crumbling before us, which is, as I say, quite a surprise to me. I thought they were going to be really, really difficult. But obviously Mengus seems to be, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether he's bugged or not, but I mean, it seems quite funny, doesn't it, that he's running around. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't have such a large army himself, I don't think, but he is literally leading an actual army of, 1,300, 1,400, which is actually not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen a number of people in the past actually have the ability to do that, and I'm talking about AI here. And I think the main... not sure, actually. The main concern, I think, is the fact that he has so much influence. I'm not sure how he's earning so much influence. His charm skill is very low, but I'm wondering whether, because he has achieved victory so many times, that's just how he's earning the influence? He must be earning a huge bundle of influence every single time he takes a town, and he is able to do that very, very easily. It could just be that. I don't actually know. But as we know as well, every single time you call for an army and you have a bunch of vassals in your party, the engineering is taken care of for you as well. So him able to take these towns so incredibly quickly is explained that way as well. So I'm not entirely sure what else we can really say about it. But as you can see, if, for example, he's doing a battle against a large army and he gets around, I don't know, 50 influence per fight, and maybe he gets, I don't know, what, 80 to 90, maybe 100 per fief capture, that's quite a lot of influence, and he can continue to just take people prisoner and do any number of things where he can just take, more people into his army over and over again. And so, as you can see right here, look at the amount of different cultures that we have in our party at the moment. And here is Serena. She used to be the governor at Zagreb, and obviously I have now taken her into our party because, well, I have to, because otherwise she's just basically doing nothing, and we want to make sure that we are utilizing her skills to the best of our efforts here. But yes, anyway, let's just move on, and we're actually going to be giving her some new gear because she needs it. And let's just see, there we go. Yeah, let's just go back into the inventory here, and we'll just do a nice little auto equip. There we go. She's now got a bunch of extra stuff, which is wonderful. And we can now go in here and sell some stuff. I think I probably do need to, let me actually just have a, yes, I do need to give her a shield. And I think we can probably, she's not good at bows. Yeah, she's not particularly good at bows. So I think I'm probably just going to leave her the way she is. Does she have any good riding? No, her riding skill is absolutely terrible as well by the looks of things. She could use something, so why not? There we go. And that's it. There we go. All right, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I was actually, basically what I was doing is I was hoping and crossing my fingers that this was going to happen, that someone was going to besiege Strasbourg when we were here. I actually thought that would be super fun, because it's been a long time since we have had any kind of siege defense perpetrated against us, and I would have absolutely loved that. I think that would be so incredibly cool, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be happening. We could get these guys to join us maybe. Let's have a look. No, never mind. He's just some random clan that used to be a rebel faction as far as I'm aware, and that's the reason why he is not persuadable, which I think is a bit of a shame. I feel like if there is a rebel clan somewhere, I feel like the game should allow you to persuade them to join you, or to merge your efforts. And maybe you pay them a certain amount and then they merge into your faction. I think that could be a fantastic idea. But anyway, let's exactly see what's happening now. Okay, so he's taking Prague, which is fine. What is this guy doing? Okay, he's moving to this castle. Ah, he's actually besieging that castle. That's pretty crazy. All right, so should I? I'm gonna go over to Lyon. Actually, I'm gonna go over to Lyon, and we're gonna actually see what's going on there, because I do realize that Mengus actually took this before. He took it and he captured it, and as you can see, look at the look at the garrison. The garrison is absolutely perfect. So let's see what we can do here. This is actually a really decent strategy for us to utilize as well. And the strategy is, well, if you look at where they are, if you look at where Mengus is, and you look at where we are, you kind of already get what I'm getting at here. But basically, the AI has to choose between going an extremely far distance to the east, or whether they want to go an extremely far distance to the west. And that is then going to make things a bit difficult for them. They're going to have to decide what they want to do, and it's going to waste a huge amount of their time, you know, cohesion, food supplies, and just general effort to get to, you know, whichever point they want to focus on. And that's absolutely perfect for us, because that means that we or our friends have more time to do and accomplish what they wanted to do. So that's kind of what we are getting at here. As you can see, there's actually a pretty significant army next to us right now. I'm a little bit dubious about continuing to siege here, but I'm kind of thinking that we will, just because. And let's give this to Mengus. Why not? He's got such an incredible amount of fiefs now. I feel like I may have given him too many. But I don't know. Do you think he's going to... If he defects from me right now, this would be absolutely hilarious. We're not going to make peace. Oh, Mengus actually wants peace. Our realm is currently doing well, but we stand to lose this wealth if we go on fighting. That is... Okay. I'm going to say it, alright? That is a message I have never, ever seen before. And that is saying something, because I've obviously played this game for thousands of hours now, and I've never seen that. I've never seen it. Never seen that message. So I am going to say no, because here's the thing. The AI is a bit weird when it comes to making peace. As we know from the Realm of Thrones series, Daenerys is, you know, somehow hard-coded into some things, and just generally in the base game as well, they seem to make peace randomly and at really weird positions as well. Like, for example, look at how many prisoners we currently have. We have 18 prisoners to our name. And doesn't that say everything you need to know? That says these guys desperately want peace because they want all of their prisoners to be released. But we're going to say no to that. I have enough influence to be able to say no a couple more times, and hopefully we'll be able to continue taking things. But I do actually understand why the AI is saying that. I do understand that they want to be, you know, holding on to what they have gained, because that actually makes a lot of sense. And we are now being attacked by the... We're being attacked by the Byzantines. Okay, that's actually really funny. I gotta say, I'm actually super surprised that they are so incredibly hell-bent on attacking us. It's really quite interesting. Anyway, Prague has been taken, as you can see. Let's give that to... I don't even know who to give that to right now, to be honest. Yeah, I'm actually on the ticket now a lot as well, because I actually only have one fief, and I assume they want to give that to me for, you know, being nice reasons or being kind to me for some reason or another. But for me personally, I don't really see the point in me taking anything. As I said before, we just have so much cash as it is. And, well, as I said before in a previous episode, it is really, really important to have a huge amount of cash if you want to utilize the ability to persuade people to join you, or everything has a price. But the amount of cash that one needs to make that work at the moment in this version that I'm currently playing, because who knows whether the developers are going to change how everything has a price works, or the scaling with it, because at the moment the scaling is, in my opinion, very skewed, and I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be a lot easier for you to be able to gain castles at least. Towns, I think, are extremely expensive. And I don't believe that they should be like that. Yes, okay, fine. If they are very prosperous and if they have a huge garrison and if they are the only fief that that particular faction has, then sure. Make it, make it cost a lot. But the way that it is right now is literally you having to spend millions just for one. And some of the time, not even just millions. Some of the time, they are asking for fiefs. They are asking for all of the loot in your inventory. They are asking for basically every single thing that you have to your name. And I think that that is a bit too much. Don't you? I think that is a bit too much. Especially considering it is already very, very difficult to level up your trade skill if you don't have mods available, as I've mentioned in previous episodes. I'm not going to go over that again. But apart from that, just the sheer amount of cash that you're going to need to be able to make that work, which is really sad. The only reason why I wanted to actually get Everything Has a Price is because I actually did believe that maybe they had changed it, maybe they'd tweaked it a little bit and made it slightly more forgiving in regards to how much investment you're going to need to make. But no, that is actually not the case. They did not do that. So it's very, very sad to me because I personally feel like that perk is one of the most fun, most unique mechanics in the entire game. And I think that it's a crime, really, that it is not being utilized more. Because as it stands right now, I think it is basically unusable. It can be used, of course. Don't get me wrong. It can be used, and it is definitely viable for you to do that if you want to spend a massive amount of time getting huge amounts of cash and then buying one town. I understand the reasoning behind why they have changed the costs behind it. Because, well, quite clearly, players were literally able to gain towns in the drop of a hat. They would literally be able to just do whatever they wanted to with the cash, because most of the time what would happen is, and this was too easy. That's the thing. The version of Everything Has a Price beforehand was just too easy. But nowadays, no, I think this is too harsh. So I think there needs to be a good middle ground that we can get to that would then enable us to be pleased with that current version of the perk. Because I'm not saying, hey, you know what, I want all of these fiefs to cost 10 gold. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I think that the cost of getting a town should be equivalent to the prosperity and to the kind of like the current standing of that particular vassal. For example, if the vassal is having hard times, let's say that the vassal has very little cash and their fief isn't doing particularly well. Let's say that their fief has, I don't know, 1,500 or 2,000 prosperity, something along those lines. So pretty low, on the low end of prosperity for a town. And let's say that that's actually happening and they have very little cash to their name. Let's say they have, I don't know, what, 5,000? Let's say they have 5,000 in cash or something like that. I mean, I'm just pulling out some random numbers here. But let's just say that they have very little amounts. And, you know, getting a cash injection, and I'm talking about, you know, maybe 1 million. I think 1 million gold isn't too much to ask for a town. I think that's okay. I think that is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit more on the fence, you know, perhaps. But what I'm saying is, in the end, if you're playing a long game, if you have a really, really huge amount of days played in your campaign, I've currently played for, I don't even know how long, but I think I've played for well over 1,500 days. And almost 14 years in game with this particular campaign right now. And obviously I haven't really been solely focused on making cash. Initially I was, because I was wanting to, you know, make as much money as possible with trade skill, and obviously once you are, you know, perfectly pretty good with your economy, you don't really need to worry too much about that any further, as we've seen, you know. But obviously I wanted to make use of everything as a price, and that didn't really come to fruition, unfortunately. We did kind of get something from it, because I did actually get Belgrade. Didn't I get Belgrade, or did I besiege that? I'm actually not entirely sure. Now I'm completely forgetting what I've actually bought. I think we actually purchased 0 towns. I think. Yeah, I think we purchased 0 towns in the end, which is sad, but... We did get, I think we did get a couple of castles. And I think the castles are, as well, a bit too expensive. Because I think, as I said before, in the Trader series, the Trader Lord series, I think that castles should be about maybe half the cost of a town, or maybe somewhere around there. Dependent, again, on the positioning of the castle, dependent on who is selling it, dependent on the prosperity of the castle and how many troops are in the garrison. You know, a number of modifiers need to be taken into account to ensure a fair price. And of course, I think that I don't know whether this is the case, because as I said beforehand, I don't know if relation is actually taken into account. It should. It should be. Don't get me wrong. I think relation should be taken into account, but there have been a number of people that have told me in the past that relation doesn't make any difference. Which is sad, because if that is indeed the case, I haven't actually done any testing on that myself, but if that is indeed the case, that is an extremely, mind-boggling thing, because you'd think that relation would make a difference, right? You think that, you know, you having decent relation with a particular vassal would actually improve your chances of getting a good deal. Alright, so I basically ended up auto-resolving the rest of the siege because I got stuck. Yes. Yeah, okay. There's no need for us to dwell on that. Yes, I used the speed up function. To cut a long story short, I used the speed up function, and then I got stuck in the geometry of the castle as I was running through, and I then couldn't get myself out. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to retreat from here and then auto-resolve it and see how that goes, and it seems to have actually worked out quite nicely for us, because as you can see, we have now taken Marseille. Oh my! Mengus has died! Okay, so the question is that actually Mengus himself? Because as far as I am aware, there are 2 Menguses. I know, this seems really, really funny, but there are 2 Menguses in the game at the moment, and I think that was him. Let me actually just see. No, never mind. There he is. No, he's fine. Okay, he is actually fine. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, that is really, really weird. But as you can see, he's looking really old now. He's actually 68. So yeah, that's actually a pretty big deal, and I'm not entirely sure how much that actually increases the chances of him dying. But yeah, Mengus has died in battle. That is so weird, because that wasn't actually Mengus. That was some other random guy who's just called that. So I think that's quite funny. Anyway, Leon has just been taken again, so I will actually be taking that off screen, but otherwise that's going to be it for this episode. I will progress a little bit off screen and see where we end up with the Holy Roman Empire. As you can see, they're probably a bit more on their last legs than we think. But yeah, I can't actually zoom out any further than this, unfortunately, but you could see that my territory right now is pretty massive. And I'm thinking, you know what, we might be nearing the end of the series. We might. I don't know whether we want to go up against France and maybe up against the Almoravid Empire. Yeah, I'm not sure whether we want to go up against them either. Might be cool to do that, I don't know. But otherwise, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.